Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Zonde with your tech wrap for the year 2021. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. On email, you can get in touch with us and tell us about some of those tech stories that moved you in the year 2021. It was the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic. Happy New Year. Here's what we're looking at tonight. There was an increased number of data breaches in 2021. We tell you about some of those. We have information about some of those tech centers that are training young people in new tech skills. And Nigeria started regulating cryptocurrency. Information about that is coming up as well. People continue to work from home in the year 2021, and there are people with the view that we are never going to fully go back to the office. But what that has done is to increase the number of data breaches we started seeing as well. We saw cities, governments, and even here at home, Transnet stopping to move and cargo not getting in or leaving the country because they'd suffered a data breach. There was a time it was unthinkable that Facebook would be down. We leave a lot of our information there. The social network and other meta platforms, Instagram and WhatsApp, have been down several times in different parts of the world recently. Even though they've never admitted to being hacked, there are techies who've suspected that it could have been the case in some instances. Whenever it happens, people take to Twitter to complain about it.
Again, this is a business risk and not just something that IT needs to manage and deal with on a day-to-day basis.
In July in 2021, we also heard that President Cyril Ramaphosa was one of 14 world leaders whose devices were targeted in the Pegasus spyware attack.
There's been a lot of discussion around this Israeli company called NSO that designed this Pegasus malware that, by just responding to a WhatsApp or answering a call, a WhatsApp call, not even answering it, they can actually get this malware onto your device. And I think that, this is something that not just government, but every large enterprise has got to watch out for. And I think that as we rely more and more on smartphones and digital technology for information, we need to protect it.
In the same month, we saw a number of trucks parked outside Transnet terminals in Durban. When we went there, drivers said they'd been told that there was a problem with the system and knew nothing more. This meant that a lot of cargo was not moving. It turned out that it was a cyber attack. There have been other attacks, and experts say sometimes when an organization experiences this, it's often through phishing.
Organizations need to tighten up on their cybersecurity defense strategies. I think that's a given, right? You need to try to reduce the likelihood of a possible breach as much as possible. So it's in your best interest to relook at your strategies, look at the effective, and if you don't have strategies, make sure you put strategies in place. But ultimately, right, in the case that the compromise does happen, right, and it's inevitable that it will happen, organizations need to ensure that they appropriately prepare for the response in those situations.
With the possibility that remote work would largely continue in the post-pandemic era, organizations are advised to ensure that their systems and IT support for their staff are even better than they are now, so they aren't preyed on by attackers who are always looking for new ways to infiltrate organizations, steal data, money, or whatever else.
I think the biggest challenge is, or mistake people make, is what we call hygiene. And really this goes about making sure that systems are patched correctly, so they have the latest software updates. And I think password management, making sure that, people first of all, they use passwords, and that those passwords have a decent strength, meaning that they're not easily guessed by either another human or by a system. I think those are the two biggest fundamental security things that need to be done better by everybody, to be honest.
With the increased number of people using technology to do their work, it became clear in 2021 that South Africa has a shortage of some tech skills that are needed. But there are places where young people are being trained to gain some of these. We visited a few of those places in 2021.
At a time when online learning has become a must and digital literacy is regarded as being essential due to the COVID-19 pandemic, digital lab donations to schools in townships and rural areas have been significant. A recent corporate social responsibility initiative was taken by MTN Foundation in partnership with the Gauteng Department of Basic Education that helped set up a digital lab in Buchoni Technical School in Atteridgeville in the outskirts of Pretoria. The school was given a 40-seater multimedia center.
The objective is to make sure that no school should be in a position where, because of the location of the school, the children are disenfranchised from the ability to access technology. Everyone deserves the benefit of a modern connected life. That's what we feel. And by taking these multimedia centers into particularly township schools like Buchoni Technical School, we can make sure that technology is not something that is alien and foreign to learners.
This 40-seater multimedia center is equipped with the latest technology.
So the Multimedia Center has got laptops for 40 students. It has an interactive whiteboard. In fact, it has 2 interactive whiteboards, which is an amazing teaching tool because it allows the teacher to be able to replicate what the children are seeing on their screens, and then allowing the whole class to be able to experience that learning process.
We also went to Cape Town in the Garden Route hub of George, where Sakikamva Foundation donated a STREAM laboratory at the Hitherland High School in partnership with its project partner, Software AG.
If we think about what the world of work is going to look like in a couple of years' time, this is a high school. In 4 to 10 years' time, they are going to enter the world of work. So we need to prepare them for the new skills that they need in the 21st century workplace. Things like, we don't even think about collaboration, where critical thinking, problem solving, and this STREAM laboratory exposes learners to the development thereof.
This is done through public and private sector partnerships in the province.
I think there's a gap in terms of where the private sector comes in and what we do in the communities as well. We tend to go out in the communities, build labs, and forget about it. But what we're doing differently now is saying that let's go into the communities that give that exposure to our kids that we didn't have, where we did not just bring in computers and technology, but we bring in the whole 4IR experience, which is your robotics, which is your coding, together with your STEM and computers all in one.
Many of these learners here are from disadvantaged communities, but they are determined to make good use of this new facility.
I can learn a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge will help me to get a good job.
I'd like to study engineering one day, so I think these skills might help me in university, college.
Get Ahead College in the Eastern Cape also benefited.
What we want to teach the kids here is not just the technology, but we want to teach them how to be communication workers, how to understand how to collaborate, how to use technology to benefit themselves and not just to use technology for the sake of using technology.
In the 4th Industrial Revolution, it is very important that we use scientific knowledge in practical ways to improve people's lives.
We want to take the app to higher places in order for the goal to be sustained. You see, so the app. Okay, let's say the app doesn't need data; it's free. You can go to where there's computers, where there's phones, wherever.
And our main goal is to reach the zero hunger. So even if we don't get money, we don't mind that, because all we want is to see that children are being fed and our community is in a better place.
These partnerships aim to improve the teaching of science and technology by providing these schools with tech-equipped laboratories free of charge.
Fintech was one of the big winners in the year 2021. A lot more people were sending goods across borders, therefore buying some of these online. And the Nigerian government started to regulate cryptocurrency as well.
Bitcoin is the world's foremost cryptocurrency. Millions around the world have made a lot of money as they use it as an investment and to trade. It's not regulated by any central bank, and those that invest in it pay no tax when they reap the rewards. But now there are reports that the South African Revenue Service is clamping down on them.
This is not a new plan. This was actually announced way back in 2018, or at least proposed back then. And, for legal purposes, or for tax purposes at the very least, cryptocurrency is considered an asset. So this is not surprising. In all honesty, I think this is something that should have been done ages ago. And I think that this helps form part of regulation for blockchain and for cryptocurrencies, which is desperately needed. What this means for crypto traders and investors is that, as a cryptocurrency trader, you need to make sure that your clients who are using your services are aware that they do need to be paying tax on these assets.
Bitcoin broke through the $50,000 mark a few days ago. This is after tech company Tesla, owned by South African-born billionaire Elon Musk, bought over 1 billion of them. In South Africa, the government wants to collect tax from those trading in Bitcoin.
Over the last 6 to 12 months, we saw quite a number of institutions, listed companies listed on the NASDAQ in the US, enter the Bitcoin space. So we've had MicroStrategy, a listed company in the US. We've had Square, which is owned by the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. So before Tesla and Elon Musk, we've had 2 or 3 other large corporations entering the market and buying Bitcoin to the tune of $650 to $700 million. So Elon Musk entered the market after those companies, and definitely, if you look at the size of Tesla and also Elon Musk and Elon Musk's influence on the future and the direction we're going from a technology perspective, no, certainly. So when Tesla made the announcement, in the SEC filing a couple of weeks ago, the price definitely moved after that.
But in Nigeria, Bitcoin's second largest market in the world is stopping all use of the cryptocurrency altogether. Central Bank of Nigeria has decided to clamp down on any digital currency transactions. One of the reasons cited for this move is that of the anonymity behind operations of virtual currencies that supposedly increase fraud.
It was based on cryptocurrency's anonymous nature, the fact that cryptocurrency is more like operates covertly, and they're unable to track crypto. They're unable to bring it under your purview, and the fact that cryptocurrency has been used to perpetrate fraud in the past. And one that came to mind, and one that was like an example in their release, was the MMM, the Mavrodi pyramid scheme, where a lot of Nigerians were duped.
Prohibitions such as this in a country with a booming digital currency market are detrimental to both investors and traders. Could we see such moves trickling down to the rest of the African continent?
Regulations, in my view, they are good, but it depends what kind of regulation is also the government's trying to impose on cryptocurrency. Is it to protect the people, or is it trying to take control of the industry? That's the difference.
People have turned to Bitcoin in order to continue doing business and in order to continue to earn a living. So we've seen growth from the grassroots level, and it's not something that any regulator can just switch off or stop. So we will continue to see that. But having said that, it's very important for companies like Luna and the industry to work with regulators, and we've done that. We've worked with the SA Reserve Bank for the last 6 to 7 years.
Traders and investors of digital currency like Debo Hobusa say that there are still concerns over a number of scams disguised as virtual currencies.
Mainly, most of these things, they are connected to network marketing, right? One of them that has gone with about 9 billion rands worth of Bitcoins was MTI. That was in Stellenbosch. So I think it was in December when the hawks and everybody were clamping down on it, right? It is because it was a software that was promising people that it is trading Bitcoin on their behalf, and they were going to be getting X amount of returns. See, once you see something like that, it raises red flags for me, because this industry is open to everybody. There's no reason for you to send your money to another company when you can actually buy the coin directly from the market.
Though the clamping down of cryptocurrencies by Nigeria's central bank might put somewhat of a dent on the market there, cryptocurrencies are seeing substantial growth in the rest of the world.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we continue with a wrap of some of those 2021 tech happenings. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. Now, in 2021, we saw Chinese smartphone maker Huawei losing their #1 spot. In fact, falling off almost completely in the list of top smartphone makers or sellers. But other Chinese companies seem to have moved up. For a huge chunk of the last decade, Chinese technology firm Huawei was seeing an incredible rise all over the world. They overtook players that had been in the market for longer, like Samsung and LG in the smartphones division. It all started crumbling in 2020 after they were blocked from doing business with many American firms and even lost access to Google's Android on their devices. 2021 saw a freefall. In the past, Huawei would make big announcements for high-end smart devices, but in South Africa in 2021, they focused on the mid-range Nova series, which they say is targeted at a younger clientele.
The Huawei Nova series itself is really the bridge between the flagship experience, but for the young at heart, for the creators, for those that want to have a device that's more than a communication device, it's also complement their lifestyle and their fashion sense.
Apart from smartphones, they also launched a number of smartwatches.
More people are becoming aware of their health and fitness needs, especially when you looked at the lockdown. We couldn't go to gym, people couldn't go and exercise, we really couldn't do sporting activities, and you needed a mechanism to be able to monitor that and to guide you. But not just any smartwatches. I think smartwatches that have specific functionality to help and guide you through those processes.
What's hurting Huawei are repeated accusations from a number of governments that they could be using spyware on those that use their products. South Korea's Samsung has claimed the #1 spot in the smartphones division worldwide, but Huawei's struggles have seen a number of Chinese brands doing really well. Oppo, which only launched a year ago in South Africa, says they now have a 10% market share in the post-paid smartphone market in the country. It's a phone we tested with fitness trainer Ayanda Mthembu.
Oh, the Oppo Reno 5. Yes, that's the name of the phone. It's a 5G support system, and what I like about the phone is the battery life, and it would be a camera probably, most definitely.
Internationally, it was expected that Xiaomi would do well everywhere, but they didn't do as well as expected. The worldwide shortage of microchips is said to have hurt their projected growth, but they still hope for South African success.
In the first, South Africa is the most important market for us in Africa. So, as a fairly new brand in South African market, we will improve our sales network and establish a complete after-sales system this year. At the same time, we will deploy Xiaomi's marketing and Mi fans community to make it easier for our consumers to buy a Xiaomi product and find the Xiaomi after-sales and integrate into the Xiaomi family. We also actively cooperation with our local carriers to bring more competitive price plans to our consumers.
A brand that's been popular for years across Africa is this one. This is Chinese-made smartphone Tecno. Their Spark 7 Pro allows users who are just above entry-level access to some features that would be seen in more expensive devices. Kid mode is my favorite feature in settings. As a parent, it allows you more control of what kids can or cannot do with the device. There's a fingerprint scanner in the back, right next to the triple rear cameras. It's not a high-end phone, so while the camera is good at its price range, don't compare it to that of 30,000 Rand plus smartphones. It suffers in not-so-great light. The main camera here is a 16-megapixel dual camera, while the selfie camera is at 8 megapixel. But remember, it's a phone that costs at about 3,000 to 3,500 Rand. Also new and a big contender is Honor. Honor smart budget smartphones were a wing of Huawei, and they've been sold to try and help things along during this Huawei slump. It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. After the break, we go to the rest of the world and find out what's been happening there in the tech space. It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. Here's what took place in the rest of the world in the technology sector in 2021.
2021 was a big year for Mark Zuckerberg as he made headlines with a number of changes made on his social media networks. One being the introduction of WhatsApp's privacy policy earlier this year that received backlash from users across the world, with some people even threatening to leave the platform to join WhatsApp competitors Telegram and Signal. The Facebook founder also announced the rebranding of Facebook to Meta and detailed how the company aims to build a new version of the internet, which is the metaverse. Another headliner in 2021 was Time Magazine's Person of the Year, Elon Musk, whose tweets took Bitcoin numbers on a roller coaster ride in the markets. Tesla had earlier said it would stop accepting Bitcoin for car purchases less than 2 months after the company announced it will be accepting the cryptocurrency for payment. Later, Musk posted an array of tweets about Dogecoin, which he then endorsed after calling it a hustle on a comedy sketch show, Saturday Night Live. Twitter Inc. CEO Jack Dorsey made the news after it was reported that he will be stepping down from his role. The company's board has been preparing for Dorsey's departure since 2020. This is according to a source familiar with the matter.
It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network, and sabc.co.za on email. Tell us about some of your favorite tech stories from the year 2021. That's it. That's all we have for you from me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team. Happy New Year. Have a fantastic 2022. Bye-bye.